let's cover the other functions from the Setup/Utilities menu or ribbon before we leave this section. You do have, under the integration tools here, you have export deposits and journal entries. This is for our QuickBooks integration. We do export your daily deposits over to QuickBooks to a control account. You can do a journal entry that will debit that control account, credit the proper income accounts by work code association. We do maintain your detailed subsidiary ledger for your clients within ImagineTime. Also, that journal entry can be done either cash or accrual basis. And later, looking at some of the reports, I'll show you a report that summarizes those. Also, for the tax software integration, there is integration with Lacert, UltraTax, and ATX. We do offer the ability to read in from those packages your client name, address, contact information for 1040 clients. We also give you the ability to import invoices that were created in the tax package, bring them into ImagineTime, and alternately give you the option to clear time that's been recorded for the client against those invoices automatically for a specific work code, all the time that's been recorded, or you can bring them in as a progress billing so that you can come back and selectively clear time against them. And now, again, all that's for 1040 clients from those packages. Now, in the general utilities, there are quite a few options there. One that I do want to make sure and touch on while we're in here is the menu ribbon, passwords and rights. And I'm going to choose that one. And here's where I can set up, if you looked at the very first login module, I logged in as a staff level person. I had a very limited menu at the top of the screen. And this is how that was set up. Here I have all of my menu items, and here is the minimum level that can get into. In other words, like here it takes a supervisor or system manager to get into it. Anybody can get into this option. Here only system managers can get into this option. You do have the ability to put passwords here, and then even if you're the proper level, you still have to know the password to get into it. Also, to the right here are 3 check boxes. I've actually got 3 customizable ribbons that I can assign to staff when I'm setting them up. Staff, supervisor, system managers, the way they're named, doesn't necessarily have to follow that though. You could have staff people that were set up with the supervisor level menu if you wanted to. But only the items that are checked here will actually show up on the ribbon for those customized menus. And if you remember back when we were looking at staff setup, you did have an option to choose which menu this staff person saw when they logged into the program. Now, I'm going to come out of that. The other utilities I would mention here, there is a general utility here that will allow you to, and actually this is a good bit of my client database here. I've got my client ID, group ID, which I'll explain a little bit more when we get over to actual setting up clients. Client name, are they an active client, are they a tax client, are they subject to service charges, billing partner, client type, tax rate if they're subject to sales tax. And so there's a lot of fields that you can edit here, and this is actually the only place in the program too that you can actually edit the client ID field. So it's a useful utility if you need to edit those. I'm going to come back to our setup utilities here. Update client balances from this general utility section. Actually, that gets run once a week automatically when you come into the program, and it is a general utility that you can fire anytime you want to. You'll never hurt anything by running that utility, and basically it just recalculates the client balances to make sure that the math is right on it. Also, there are show users in ImagineTime so you can see what users are logged into the package. Update audit snapshot is for some of our audit snapshot reports to update the starting point, if you will, for those reports. And then there's some general utilities that allow you to run a repair and compact on the database. And actually, that's one thing I should mention here. There's update database, relink database if you need to relink to your data file, backup data file utility. Under the repair utilities, there's a repair compact database and exit. Now, once every 30 days, you will get a notice to run this utility. You do have to have all the users out of the package except for yourself when you're running this utility. but it does a repair and compact on the database. And the reason we remind you once every 30 days to do that is it keeps the database kind of lean and mean, if you will. Keeps it operating at peak efficiency. There is a fix missing records, relink tables, utility if you have some data corruption issues that can very often clean up that type thing. And there are some repair edit tables and run manual SQL queries here. And those are really designed to be used when you have one of our tech support people online with you. There is a history purge. You can purge old data, whether you want to be time slips, that type of thing. And actually here you can drop down and see what information you can purge. And once you've got several years of data here, you want to consider purging some of the information from that old history. There is a network update that ties in with our automatic updater that I mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm going to close that. And that pretty well covers that. Now, we'll mention too, there is a ShowHide Menu option here. And actually, if you click this brings back up our full screen. This is actually our legacy menu system. We have a lot of people that have been using our software for quite some time. And a lot of those people are so used to this, they wanted the ability to pull it back up and use it because it's their comfort zone, if you will. You can expose this. It does actually expose it in a tab here. So you can actually have other screens of the program open in other tabs and just tab back over to that screen to use the menu if you want to. So again, a lot of the legacy users especially wanted that ability to have that there. And I'm going to close that back. But that pretty well covers up the setup and utilities tab and ribbon menu there.